Good evening, and welcome to the first of two nights of the Barnstable Patriot debates. My name is David Still. I'm the editor of the Barnstable Patriot, and I'll be pulling double or triple duty tonight. Our regular panel of questioners could not join us tonight. They will be with us tomorrow night for the second half of these. So I will be moderator, I will be question asker, and I will be timekeeper. For the ground rules, each candidate will have 3 minutes to present themselves. They'll have 2 minutes as a closing for closing comments, and then there'll be about a half an hour of questions and an opportunity for each candidate to ask a question of one another. That's an optional thing. You don't have to do that. And we start tonight with Precinct 13, which is in Hyannis. And in Precinct 13, we have, which is an open seat, we have Jen Cullum. She is the owner of the C Street Market. And has been since 2005. She's also been active in improving that neighborhood. She's also in commercial real estate. She's married with a 4-year-old son. Welcome and thank you. We are going to be going in alphabetical order for opening statements, and we'll be following the same order for closing statements. So someone has the first word, someone has the last word. And we also have Bob Jones with us, who I'll introduce when we'll do his 3 minutes. So Jen, if you'd like to start.
Push my little button there. So I guess I'll start with my little prepared statement, and that is that I don't have a background in politics. I have a background in trying to save my neighborhood. For those of you who don't know my story, you'll hear an abridged version now. For the past 6 years, I've worked to steadily improve the C Street neighborhood, which is my neighborhood. And when I bought C Street Market in 2005, I really had no idea what I was in for, nor did my family. Ours was a neighborhood in crisis, and we really had a rough go of it for a while there. We had a shooting on Nautical Road, we had drug dealers everywhere, there were hypodermic needles in front of my store, and there was no leadership in sight. There was zero leadership in our community. So I stepped into the vacuum, really. And 6 years later, we have brighter lights on our streets. We have safer streets because of the work that I've set in motion, which is, I was explaining to my husband earlier, it's hard to say things like that because your whole life you're taught to be humble. But when it comes down to something like this and you believe so strongly in your community, you need to step up and say what you've done. So I'm going to say that I set those works in motion. We're safer now than we were 6 years ago. I read the court report every day, and I'm happy to say that we're in the court report very rarely now, and definitely not for the egregious things that we were in the court report for before, and I mean C Street and the abutting streets there. What I have done at C Street, I've done with the help of our neighborhood, the community there at large, our police department, and our town manager. And we're still really on a precipice in that community, and I really feel like the work I've done is half done, and I'd like to continue to do it. There are many more improvements that need to happen there. My foray into local politics is because of my experiences of these last 6 years. Some of those experiences have been terrible. And some of those experiences have been really, really, really good and heartwarming. All of them together have prompted me to run for this position of town council. And I've learned that in this town, and I can say this with my whole heart, in this town, if you show up, you are really likely to make a difference. And I'm not the type to write letters. Like I told you the other day at the interview, I'm not the type to write letters. I'm the type to show up and to make a difference. And that's my little introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. We also have Bob Jones. He is a former town councilor serving from Precinct 3 from 1999 to 2003. He's also a longtime participant in civics in the town of Barnstable, longtime chair of the Waterways Committee, and he's now semi-retired from working in the marine industry as a high-end yacht sales. So, Bob, your 3 minutes.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you so much for running this. I mean, as I told you earlier, this is a wonderful civic gift that you're doing to have the people be able to at least, see and meet, their candidates firsthand. I am Bob Jones, and I've lived in Hyannis my whole life. And so did my father, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and coincidentally, they all happened to live in precinct, what is now Precinct 13. And I told Jen that earlier that I lived next door to the C Street Market where she has at one time. But in any event, I'm proud to call Hyannis my home, and a lot of people say I have sand in my shoes and little salt water running through my veins, and maybe that's true, I don't know. I am happily married to my wife Rita for over 44 years. We have 2 grown children, married children, and we have our first grandson, which is, has made a huge difference in our life. And he's home in front of the TV set with a shirt saying "Vote for Bob" on it. So, hi, Christopher. And most of my working career, I've been in the marine industry. As David said, that I am semi-retired, but the economy really says retired. But I'm still active within the industry itself. I have proud to say that I have served with the 1st Cavalry Division in Vietnam. I am a combat veteran, and I was in Colonel Custer's 7th Cavalry when I was in Vietnam. I'm a licensed captain, and also I'm an Eagle Scout, which is something that's carried me through almost to this chair here today. Over the years, I've served on over 15 different boards and committees and chaired over half of them. I started out in 1973 as elected to the Park and Recreation Commission, served a couple of terms there, and then it became the Recreation, and it was an appointed position there. I've also served the Sandy Neck Governing Board, which actually that we gathered and put together at that time when there was a lot of crisis between the various boards and commissions running Sandy Neck. And I served over 10 years as chairman of the Waterways Committee. And from that point, I ran for the town council and was successful.
10 seconds.
Okay, then I'll rush it out. In any event, I feel that my experience on these various boards and commissions will be beneficial to the council, and I'll wait for David's questions on the topics. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.